there's this rumor that goes around that apparently Randy Savage smashed Stephanie McMahon. I have to wonder if Bray Wyatt's father actually smashed Stephanie McMahon instead. Because Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt always gets, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, fucked by Vince McMahon.
Welcome everybody to the Ring Generals podcast. My name is Nick Nenad. Alongside me is Jesse.
What's up, guys?
Easy-E Eric.
It's cooking, guys.
And of course, the RKJ Man.
Hypocritical Nick. Let's talk that talk, y'all.
Let's talk that talk today.
Wow. Saudi Arabia.
Damn.
F the kids in the front who had the coronavirus.
Okay.
Yeah, we're starting with coronavirus.
Yeah,
already.
We can hashtag coronavirus.
Hashtag coronavirus. Hashtag Goldberg virus because...
The Goldberg virus.
Here's the thing. We were going to start... Here's the thing.
Podcast.
That's his good name. We were going to start this podcast and do this podcast today based around AEW Revolution's pay-per-view. We were going to talk about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's epic heavyweight fight and Deontay Wilder's ridiculous excuse, which was news enough to do a podcast. And we were gonna slightly touch on Super ShowDown because obviously, guys, we know this is kind of a glorified house show. There's only 1 or 2 matches that really mattered today. Mm-hmm. But what happened in the main event today now will make this a full segment on the podcast, and that's how we're going to start. We will get to Fury and Wilder later. We will get to Revolution and preview and predict that pay-per-view, which we're all excited about. But Goldberg winning the Universal Championship tonight really messes up a lot of things, and we definitely want to give our opinions, and none of us are happy about this. I know we used to have a segment on the show called Ryan Rants. We're going to bring that back to start the podcast today.
It's your floor.
It's Ryan Rants, Super ShowDown edition.
Grants my gears.
You know, there's this rumor that goes around that apparently Randy Savage smashed Stephanie McMahon. I have to wonder if Bray Wyatt's father actually smashed Stephanie McMahon instead. Because Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt always gets, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, fucked by Vince McMahon. I said this last year when we did our interview with Kathy Caponelli, now Kat Moreno on NXT. I love you, Kat Moreno.
Shout out Kat Moreno. Got some TV time. Just got some TV time. I'm sorry, Kat Moreno, this might not be very popular, but I said this last year. I said, Bray Wyatt, we're trusting in Vince McMahon to treat this character correctly. This was before The Fiend. And even then, I had some curiosity. I had some concerns, but they were doing pretty good. But then I started hearing the rumors about Goldberg, and I heard the rumors about maybe him dropping the Universal title. And then I heard the rumor that SmackDown side of things had gotten changed a week or 2 ago. So we're going into WrestleMania season, guys. We're going into the most important time of the year, the money-making season for the WWE. And so far what we have right now is Goldberg is the Universal Champion. We have a potential where our hottest superstar in The Fiend got absolutely ruined. Oh, and we might have to pay $70 for the WWE Network next WrestleMania. So at this point in the game, I'm hoping the WWE makes us pay $70 because I want an excuse to drop my network subscription. I want an excuse not to watch this shit anymore. The only reason why I have a network subscription is because of the Ring Generals podcast. That's the only reason why I have it. He told me I had to keep it. He told me, he's like, you got to keep the trust
podcast.
Me, I'm struggling too when I see shit like this.
He told me I had to keep it, and I just got out of college, and I got to pay student loans. So the fact of the matter remains is this. They're not giving me any reason to keep it in the first place, and this is just another reason why the WWE needs to move on from Vince McMahon. And I hate to say this, they need to move away from Bruce Pritchard too, because something is not right. This is not making any sense. SmackDown has sucked royally ever since that first show. I had another word in mind. I'm trying to reduce my cussing, but it has sucked majorly since that first show. It's been terrible. We've seen Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin for 4 or 5 months with dog food being involved.
God,
that was funny.
It's so bad.
Oh,
you think dog food is funny?
I thought that was funny, to be honest.
God bless you, man. We both grew up during the Attitude Era.
No, I mean, like,
we both grew up.
Okay, Ryan. Let's figure it out. I mean, people were offended by it. I mean, what's the problem? Yeah, people were actually offended by it.
Do you think it was funny when they brought out the dog mascot?
I don't give a shit. Ooh. I mean, like, dude. I mean, having that being played out, it's almost like what's acceptable now.
I
I love you, Eric. We've known each other for a very long time, but you're absolutely wrong on this. You grew up, me and you both grew up during the Attitude Era. We've watched the Attitude. We're the same age. We've both watched the Attitude Era. We've watched Ruthless Aggression.
Okay, Ryan, but here's the thing. A lot of people, and here's a lot of people on Twitter that actually want the Attitude Era back.
I don't want the Attitude Era.
I don't want it either.
There's a lot of shit during the Attitude Era that we didn't like.
You guys don't even make any sense. You're arguing about dog food here.
Yeah,
but the dog food wasn't associated.
I know,
but
you brought an Attitude Era in this.
But look, let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you.
WrestleMania 17.
But that's the best WrestleMania of all time. Don't you ever say anything bad about that WrestleMania. Look, the fact of the matter remains is as long as we keep watching, literally, this dog shit on our TV every single week, guess what? They're going to keep feeding us this dog shit, and I mean it literally. In this case with Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, they're going to keep feeding us every single week. So the point is coming to it now is how many more weeks, how many more times can I take this? How many more times am I willing to take this? Because at this point, I'm getting closer and closer to the edge, and I'm just praying to God that Vince McMahon makes me have to pay $70. Just sign that damn deal, Vince. Sign that mother effing deal. So guess what? I'm not gonna watch any more WWE content anymore. That includes NXT if you do that. Trust me. Sign that shit. Sign it right now. I'm begging you to put that $70 down. I am not spending no more money if you keep doing dumbass shit like this. Why is Goldberg, a man who is 53 years old, although he looks great, Nick brought that up in his tweet, he looks fantastic, he does not deserve the WWE Universal Championship. And that ending move, that jackhammer, whatever the move,
Jack
what is it?
suplex.
The Jack suplex, hammer, whatever he used there, it was the worst move ever, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bray Wyatt sandbagged him on purpose. But Bray Wyatt is also in fault too, and let me tell you why. At some point in the game, you need to step up for yourself. Big Show said this a little while ago. He said the guys in the back are way too nice. He said they're way too nice. And if you're Bray Wyatt and you know and you're hearing rumblings, you're not stupid. These guys read the internet. They read Meltzer. They hear all these things. Yeah. Corbin even mentioned how Meltzer is a cancer. If you're hearing that you may lose this Universal title and you don't think that's good for business, you need to step up for yourself. You got to step up for yourself. And this is where I bring Bray Wyatt too. Do you want to get the paycheck or do you want to have the fame? Do you want to have the notoriety? I mean, if you're just content with just being somebody's, bitch for WrestleMania season, just like Asuka last year, then guess what? You can do it. But they made his character completely vanish today. Bray Wyatt and The Fiend is dead. He will be on the same trajectory as when the Wyatt character got beat at WrestleMania 30 versus John Cena. This is his WrestleMania 30 match.
I like it. You said a lot of good things in there too that I agree with, and I can't. I mean. Here's what we're gonna do here. Can I do Nick rants about this? I'll bring up some different stuff possibly, but I don't want to just copy what you said. But we watched this live together. You live tweeted, I contributed with some tweets as well, and I was thoroughly bored by this pay-per-view up until that last match, and I was excited because there was a hint, or there was a sense of unpredictability. I really didn't know if Goldberg was going to win. All these rumors about Goldberg winning, which I thought were ridiculous, and it was more got me enticed to watch the match, knowing that the Fiend was going to win, right? And then we get this shit show of a match where Goldberg's hitting spears, which I believe Bray Wyatt sandbagged him on every single one. Not even the jackhammer. I think all the spears Bray Wyatt didn't take.
You think he pulled a Shawn Michaels SummerSlam 2005 versus
100%. Yeah, he said, I'm going to do my entrance, and then that's the only thing I'm going to try at, because I'm going to have you legitimately spear me every single time and feel it and break your collarbone.
See, I have a problem with that.
And then you're gonna have the jackhammer look like shit after they practiced it 5 times prior. You can see them. They're trying to figure it out. Yeah, they're making it look fake. Okay, so not only was the match terrible, but the ending result is atrocious, and we all agree. I don't need to get in on that. Goldberg shouldn't be the champion. I get why they did this. They want to have a big name face Roman Reigns. I don't think they believe The Fiend is a big enough name, which he's not a bigger name than Goldberg, but it's not the right decision. This is archaic thinking. The 2 biggest things that came out of Super ShowDown today were 2 50-year-olds. The Undertaker's return against AJ Styles and Goldberg's winning of the Universal Championship. And then you can argue that a 40-year-old, not washed up, but another 40-year-old that in Brock Lesnar was the third. And these are all guys from the past. We talk about bringing back the Attitude Era, right? Goldberg was Attitude Era. Undertaker was Attitude Era. And of course, Brock Lesnar was literally only in the Attitude Era until he came back in 2011. So it's it's similar. I blend them in a lot, but this is terrible, and it ruins a little bit of WrestleMania for me. It's not like we were going to go like we did last year, so it doesn't take that much effect. The main event will still be awesome with Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar rightfully won his match and did it in the fashion he should have. But Goldberg winning is just complete bullshit, viewership, pandering to sponsorships and
pandering to Disney Plus, whatever, to try to get $70.
Exactly, and it's for short term. And for some reason, WWE is allergic to long-term storylines. For some reason, unless it involves dog food, Baron Corbin, and Roman Reigns. Whereas we're going to talk about AEW Revolution later. Almost every single match on this card is a long-term build. It's completely different from what WrestleMania and what Super ShowDown and what Elimination Chamber will be. So I'm not going to go any more than that. This is bullshit. I'm not gonna take out any of these cuss words. By the way, we're all good. So if you guys want to cuss about this segment, we can. But this is a bad hit for WWE, and I think this might be the first strike in AEW eventually taking over the wrestling universe next year.
I don't know about that one, because we said that last year with that Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins Hell in the Cell matchup, and nothing really happened. They all came back.
That's part of this year. The whole Bray Wyatt ruining is part of the thing, because he was the only guy. He's the only guy that people truly cared about watching besides Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar is old, we're getting a little old of him. He's been putting on some great performances. I was telling you guys this prior to the podcast. Yeah. And I don't want to take more of your time too, because I feel like, but still, the Fiend was the most exciting thing. It was the only thing that got me to watch Super ShowDown today. I knew Ricochet was going to lose, but I was a little interested in the WWE Championship match, right? Yeah. And I wanted to see what Ricochet would do, which was nothing. And then Bray Wyatt was the thing that Bray Wyatt versus Goldberg. Goldberg, the guy that never loses versus the guy that takes 7 finishers and still doesn't get pinned. That's awesome. That's actually exciting wrestling.
Hey man, what the hell was up with him just getting up at the end too and just finishing?
Yeah, but not only did he go so what did he get pinned on purpose? Like
I know.
I don't get it.
I'm gonna get up and just go right now.
Yeah. So what are your guys? Well, Jesse, start with it. What is your opinion on this? You don't need to go crazy if you don't want to, but go ahead if you do.
I mean, you guys covered it up for me. This was basically crap, full on crap. I mean, you're gonna have a 50-year-old guy beat up a younger man who's actually have more of a capability to beat an older man. I mean, you can't really do that. I mean, you can't just walk away like nothing.
It's fake. No, it's not realistic. That would happen. Yeah.
Man, I mean, here's the thing. I did watch clips of it, and I did see the tweets that Nick and Ryan did, because I was at work when this happened, so it was also a good excuse for me.
Yeah, because pay-per-view should not be at 9 a.m.
So, with that being said,
ridiculous.
Everybody has a place to go and where they need to be at. I get it. And hearing about Goldberg winning the title against Bray Wyatt, and it just, it does put me in question, well, what's the future for Bray Wyatt? I think that's the thing, because it felt like that speech that Goldberg put out back in 2017, that retirement speech, was for nothing. So it's almost like, okay, so what's going on? I thought Goldberg was retired for good. I thought that this whole thing was about him doing this for his son at the same time. Yeah, go for it.
No.
Yeah.
Finish what you got to say, and then I want to raise my hand about something.
Okay, so Goldberg, him doing that retirement speech, I thought that was something. I thought that was how we're going to know him for. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Then a year later, he faces Dolph Ziggler, and then he comes back for the Super ShowDown with Crown Jewel, whatever, with Undertaker. Another sloppy match with we don't want to get into.
God, now you made me remember that.
And then the second one, which is with Bray Wyatt, I personally have been behind him since his debut in 2013. The Bray Wyatt character, not Husky Harris, but I'm talking about the character Bray Wyatt, because he was a big threat in 2014 and 2013 when he had the Wyatt family, and then he came back as singles competition, and then after that he, kind of flip back and forth in a way with Matt Hardy being the good guy and bad guy, and then him rejuvenating himself as the character, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I thought that this was our guy for the year 2019 and 2020. So leading up to WrestleMania, him being the champion, that should give a lot of star power for Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, because a lot of people are invested in this character. I am optimistic about this whole thing too, because I am mad about Goldberg King being the champion, but have we forgotten about 2 pay-per-views coming up before WrestleMania? Don't they add?
It's a very good point.
So
there's one and then WrestleMania, but I give you Elimination Chamber is the one that's going to be before. Yeah, that is an interesting.
I wanted
point.
to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, that Saudi Arabia pay-per-view is part of the blame too, because you have to do something big at these pay-per-views in order to attract an audience.
Which is the stupidest.
It's WrestleMania quality for them.
It's a big fat paycheck for all of them.
Yeah.
The fact that we have let's talk about overall what we have on the road to WrestleMania. So you have the Royal Rumble, obviously. After the Royal Rumble, we have NXT Takeover. You have the Super ShowDown. Okay, you have Super ShowDown, and you have the Elimination Chamber. Super ShowDown, Elimination Chamber, literally a week and a half apart from each other. So, and then after that, you only have 4 weeks of build to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So what's going on here? Why are we having so many damn pay-per-views? I know it's a monetary reason.
Filler Lane, remember?
Filler Lane. Best Lane. And Goldberg did something bad in that feud. Jesse, you brought up a really good point. You said that Fastlane main event with Chris Jericho interfering and helping Goldberg beating Kevin Owens kind of helped Chris Jericho go to AEW. He kind of helped create AEW because Jericho was so upset. That program was ruined because they took the title off of Kevin Owens, which was needed for that feud against Chris Jericho, and they put it on that Goldberg-Brock Lesnar match.
Exactly.
It destroyed everything, right? And then as soon as that happens, you flip these guys and you put them on the second match of Mania. Kevin Owens loses all his confidence. They have the second match. It's a shitty match. He goes backstage and he asks Vince, "Did you like it?" And he says no. So you know what I'm saying?
They just screwed over Chris Jericho, not just once,
multiple times. Nobody likes the second match because it follows one of the most exciting moments at WrestleMania. I mean, last year, Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins finally getting his revenge on Brock Lesnar and winning the title. And then Randy Orton and AJ Styles, which I was really excited about, was the second match. And half of it was messed up because people had lights in their eyes and stuff. So, there's a lot. I mean, it just goes back to the whole booking issue with WWE lately. Yeah. I said something before our podcast started about how, and I kind of said it on this one, but I'll retort. WWE needs to get rid of Vince McMahon. I mean, Vince McMahon has to step down, which I doubt happens. And they need to get rid of Bruce Pritchard because when they made these changes where they added Bruce Pritchard to the SmackDown writing staff and they added Paul Heyman to the Raw writing staff as being the head writers.
Yeah, executive directors.
Yeah, executive directors. So far, Heyman's done a pretty good job. He started out sketchy, but I think he was trying to prove a point. And then now Raw is pretty exciting. There's some BS, obviously, because obviously TV PG, it's hard to truly run a great wrestling show for 3 hours.
PG-13.
Yeah.
PG-13, that's good.
No, exactly. And then SmackDown, what's happened is Vince McMahon's idea of creating executive directors was to take the power off of his hands. But what has happened is they've gone backwards, and now you have 2 Vince McMahons.
Yeah,
Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon, because Bruce Pritchard is essentially Vince McMahon's puppet. And so now SmackDown is terrible. Yes, I haven't personally watched SmackDown in 3 weeks. I just don't care. Look. And I hear everyone just shit on it every week, so I'm like, I don't want to watch that. I'm trying to catch up on TakeOver, Raw, AEW, which has been awesome the last 2 weeks. NXT's been good.
I've been pumping iron during SmackDown, so
clanging and banging.
Yeah.
Clanging and banging.
And hitting the bag. So
yeah, exactly. And then fucking excuse me. Wilder and Fury too this weekend too.
Look, man.
Yeah.
Bellator, Wilder Fury, one championship.
We have a championship match in UFC this week.
I remember last year I thought how big of an idea Bruce Pritchard was, how big of a situation Bruce Pritchard coming into.
Right?
I've said to myself, but what I said in one of those podcasts is I said, he's going to give you exactly what he's going to give you according to that time and according to what Vince wants. If you want Attitude Era shit, then guess what? You're going to have naked women, everybody running around, everything, okay? You want the ruthless aggression? You'll get the ruthless aggression, John Cena and Batista rise. If you want New Generation Era with Shawn Michaels and Brett, you'll get that. And right now, Vince McMahon wants that PGBS, that enough money. Just get me some money, Bruce. Just put on good shows to make the networks happy so I can get some more money. And guess what? Bruce is doing exactly that. Now, the problem is now, back in the day, I would say, oh, it's all Vince. But now we're hearing reports that Vince McMahon is stepping back. He's not coming to these shows as much as he used to be. So if Bruce Pritchard and Paul Heyman are in the weeds like that, running their own show, you can have Vince telling you whatever you want to, but at the end of the day, you're there in the front lines.
The main storylines are going to be the idea of the executive directors.
Yeah.
Vince is not going to change an entire storyline. He may Raw and SmackDown switch stuff up to make it more family friendly, but I think generally, McIntyre and Brock Lesnar, we heard that Heyman, that wasn't the original idea, and Heyman decided to do that. And that's a good idea.
Push for it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
With that being said, since we have both champions, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg from each brand, who is a legitimate champion in your guys' eyes? The belt, which is more...
Well, you know what's crazy is that... But here's the thing, though. When you look at it in, like, the fake kayfabe sense, Goldberg beating Bray Wyatt is way bigger than anything Brock Lesnar's done. But Brock Lesnar, we see as the true champion.
Yeah, he's the true...
Yeah, and also Brock Lesnar did beat Goldberg and finished him off at the last time they faced. So, I don't know. I see Brock Lesnar being the main champion because Goldberg is obviously a puppet for WrestleMania. No, Goldberg would not have won this title unless it was right before SummerSlam
this is
or right before... It is. And it's insane that the mistake that essentially created AEW was made again, but even so much worse.
So how much longer do we have to go, though? And this is my question, you guys. How much longer do we have to go before we start putting the blame on Bray Wyatt? Because in my Ryan rants, I put the blame on Bray Wyatt, too. Because back in the day, if Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't like something, he would just say, oh, I'm not doing that. He walked out one time because he didn't like the fact that he was supposed to lose to Brock Lesnar with no 2-3 week build, just losing a random match.
Austin regrets it.
I think Austin regrets it. Also, Austin was very, very good friends with Vince. It seems like, and they were kind of in cahoots with each other a lot on stuff.
And plus, he was burned
even
out,
more,
too.
I would say, than The Rock. And so Bray Wyatt clearly isn't that to Vince McMahon. There's probably more of a rivalry there than a friendship. So it's a little different. And WWE's been stepping on its toes almost every single couple months. So it's the Attitude Era, that was like, or the Ruthless Aggression Era, that was like one mistake in 1 year. Where they go, hey, Austin, you're going to do this to Brock, which is a bad idea. But then Austin, was like, I don't want to do that. That happens almost every single week now at this point. Well, like, it's insane how bad some of this...
But how much longer, because we heard about it in that, the John Moxley podcast with Chris Jericho about how Vince will talk somebody into something, quote unquote. Bruce Pritchard has said this on his podcast. He'll sprinkle fairy dust, Vince dust, over them. And they'll just go from not doing anything to doing something. You know what I'm saying? Not agreeing to something to say, oh yeah, of course I'll do it. It makes business sense. How much longer do these talents step back and say, you know what, I'm not doing this. This is BS. I'm not doing this. You need to change something, or else. Brock, who is it? Bray Wyatt in that situation does have the power to step up to Vince and say, hey, I don't agree with how you're doing this. If he thinks it's the right move for him to go into WrestleMania, which I think it is, with that championship against
Roman Reigns,
a John Cena, or against a Roman Reigns, then why can't you go to Vince and say, hey, I disagree with this. This is not the way we should do it. And be convinced and be steadfast and say, no, I don't care what you're saying to me, this is not good business and I don't want to do it.
I think from the very get-go, the first solution they should have done with Bray Wyatt is that they should have not had Goldberg even feud with
100%.
Bray Wyatt in the first place. And have
well, but what he's saying, though, is that when he hears, oh, you're going to be facing Goldberg, and I know that a lot of times they don't tell these guys what eventually is going to happen, so Bray probably didn't know initially 3 weeks ago that this was even possible.
I heard that it's different. I heard sometimes you may know, and it gets changed up.
Well, we're not going to talk about may know all that stuff. I'm just saying, if Bray Wyatt, once he heard the news...
Once he heard rumors.
I mean... See, not step on the plane. I said... I'm going to let you get back to your point. I said that I believe he should have just been like, I'm not doing the Saudi pay-per-view. Because then it doesn't happen. And a lot of guys say, no, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn as main ones.
Roman Reigns has said it.
Yeah, Roman Reigns said it, but then he's there.
Well,
sometimes.
Aleister Black can't do it because of his religious tattoos.
Well, yeah. But so there's guys that say no, that are high profile.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the Universal Champion? I just think, Wyatt's been a part of the business his whole life. He maybe has some respect for, a promoter's decision. And and then maybe again they told him, hey, something's going to happen on the road. Like you were saying, something's going to happen, you're going to get the title back or you're going to get it right back.
It's more like, kind of like what Seth Rollins did, where he's like, hey, they give him everything to me, everything I asked for. And then it's more like kind of doing them a favor. Or like, hey, it's kind of more like me paying them back. So I can see maybe Bray Wyatt doing the same thing too. Whether we disagree or agree with this whole thing.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any... We need to move on to Fury and Wilder, but do you have any last thoughts on what he said about Bray... is there any blame to be put on Bray Wyatt here?
I mean, I guess not in a sense. It's not ultimately his last decisions. It's always just going to be Vince. I mean, at the end, it's going to go down to Vince making that big decision. And so, I mean, I guess...
Vince has the paycheck?
I mean, sense his paychecks for sure.
Yeah. It would be equivalent to like Dana White saying, oh, you have to fight this guy even though he doesn't necessarily deserve the title.
Yeah.
And then you're going, well, that's not going to make me any money. And then you going, well, I'm going to take my ball and go home. What would happen is they would strip the guy of the title and they'd say, okay, this guy's going to fight this guy. So maybe that's where people are scared to change up. It's like, oh, well, they'll just strip me of the title anyways.
Okay, well, it's in wrestling, it's kayfabe. It's not real.
No, but here's the thing: if a guy walks out like a guy like CM Punk did, and let's say he had the WWE title, they would just take title away, create some fake reason why he lost the title. His character is in whatever limbo, and then they just have Goldberg face somebody else at Super ShowDown that's actually there, Dolph Ziggler, and he wins the title, and it's for
That's very interesting that you brought up.
Yeah.
CM Punk. Look at CM Punk standing up for himself. Look how much bigger he is now as a result of him standing up to the machine. Like, he can just do whatever he wants. He can appear on WWE backstage and then go on Twitter and just shit on whatever he wants.
But he's not making the same money that he would be making as a top star in WWE.
Well, he saved his money.
We need to switch up.
Save money.
Great discussions.
Roman Reigns versus Goldberg is happening.
Hopefully not. Hopefully, my hope is that
Actually, I kind of agree with you on that part.
Goldberg
my hope
versus
is
John
that when
Cena.
you said that you wanted Roman to win the Royal Rumble, so I won't. You didn't say that, but okay. So moving on to Wilder and Fury. Okay, you guys all know Deontay Wilder at this point loses to Tyson Fury. 3 out of 4 of us had Deontay Wilder winning. You had it by decision. We had it by knockout. And you had a Tyson Fury by decision. So we all technically got it wrong. It's clear Tyson Fury won this fight.
Yes.
Okay, so we're not going to go over what we think or Wilder essentially lost the fight in the 3rd round. There's a question though, and it's kind of ridiculous. This question is even being brought up, and you've probably heard this too. But if you haven't, Deontay Wilder has initiated the rematch. So there will be a Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder 3.
For the summer.
Yeah, he wants it to be in the summer, and they'll figure it out, barring injuries. But he blamed his loss strangely on his costume. His costume that looked like something at a Mortal Kombat or something
like Shredder
from Teenage Mutant. It was awesome looking. A little over the top, but Tyson Fury had women carry him out on a throne, so we're not going to give him that much shit for it. But here's the thing. Wilder blames the loss of his costume, says that he wasn't even hurt, and that his legs were shot. I personally thought his equilibrium was knocked off by a punch in the 3rd round. His ear was bleeding. Usually when a man's ear is bleeding, it means something happened inside, and that more than likely your equilibrium is thrown off. And that made sense to Deontay Wilder falling over any time he got hit. And I kind of felt bad for the guy. And it's one of the reasons the towel was thrown in. So what do we think happened? I gave my opinion. I think it was the equilibrium. I think the costume shit is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
What do you think happened? We know Deontay Wilder lost. Why did he lose this fight?
So for me, I'd blame his conditioning as well too. Because look at him in the last fight that we just saw. That's not the same Deontay Wilder we saw in previous fights. Come on. All right, so I mean, if you're not gonna move like that, and you blame your suit, which you basically trained with a 45-pound vest on every time you train.
Yeah, this was before.
Yeah. I mean, it's a stupid reason to blame a suit for your own faults. I mean, you guys take responsibility for that, and that's his own doing, and he just wanted to take the easy way out of this one. And also, I blame his conditioning coach. He wasn't well conditioned for this fight. He wasn't really training hard enough for this one like Fury did. Fury actually had cleaned up his act, got rid of some of his coaches, some of the people who weren't helping him out, and shredded that weight off. And I mean, I'm just a little ashamed. I mean, I had big hopes for this fight.
Yeah.
Hey, I was Deontay Wilder's biggest fan.
Same here.
I said I
wore a chain last week.
I wore a chain. Well, I forgot to wear it. I
did
wore
a video with a glove. With my gloves.
I fake punched, acted like Deontay Wilder. I've been a big fan of this guy.
Bronze bomber.
And to see him, here's the thing. You know, like I was watching it, right? I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, first round goes to Fury, second round goes to Wilder. Wilder won the second round.
It happens in boxing.
And then Fury gets him and Wilder falls, but Wilder actually didn't get hit when he fell.
No,
but I personally believe that he fell because he had gotten hit in the ear earlier in that round, and it would knock his equilibrium off.
That's one of what Temple is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame that one thing on the fight. I think Fury's decision, which I thought was a stupid one, to attack Deontay Wilder, actually proved to be the 100% correct thing to do.
Aggression and pressure.
Yeah, and when you look back at other fights, now looking back on it, I was wrong. I should have predicted that Tyson Fury was going to win this fight. And my bias came in, but now looking at it, Tyson Fury was going to win this fight the entire time. Yeah. It just ended a lot earlier, and it made Deontay Wilder look a hell of a lot stupider, falling around because he got hit so hard in the ear. They ended this fight earlier, but no doubt in my mind, Fury would have won by decision no matter what. If that ear thing wouldn't have happened, Fury murdered him in this fight.
Right, man. I gotta say, of course, I was biased towards the whole thing about Fury switching up his coaches, switching up his diet, and him showing up in WWE shows, and him, being all over in the center of the media. I just thought that was going to be a disadvantage for him. But what he did in the ring was smart. He was picking him apart little by little. And I did notice that Deontay Wilder, his legs were looking really wobbly. And that was not a good sign whatsoever for Deontay Wilder.
Bad condition.
As soon as the third round hit, that's when I knew something was not going right. Fourth round got worse. Fifth round just got even a lot worse when he just kept getting knocked down. He wasn't getting knocked out. He was getting knocked down.
I was almost like laughing at some points at how bad he was looking.
Right, and Fury, he was like, bobbling, weaving, and he was like, feint most of the time, and he was like trying to make sure that Wilder wasn't like doing the power punches. He's like trying to make him be like a trickster. Like he was like tricking him throughout the entire time.
He made him miss the shots.
Almost like a magician. Yeah. So like that's a really good thing from Wilder, especially for a guy who was such like a heavyweight who's like 6'9", 6'9", the same size as Braun Strowman. So
he's like the height of an NBA player.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes. So with that being said, Tyson Fury, very rare of a guy like his size and his weight for him to pick apart a guy like Wilder. Yeah, his stature. And for Wilder to blame it on his costume, I get it. He was celebrating Black History Month with the costume. I did this costume. I thought he looked like a fusion of Shredder and Skeletor, or the final boss from a game. I thought that was cool. But I felt like the entrances were a lot longer than the fight.
King Koopa?
Yeah. Tyson Fury's and Wilder's entrances were WrestleMania walkouts. But hey, respects to Tyson Fury, and he's
congratulations.
100% deserved.
Yeah, and he's going on to face
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. Well, we don't know yet. He might face Wilder first.
Okay.
I smell something. I really do smell something,
Oh
guys. I smell a beta male bitch.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
I brought it back.
I called it back. I called Joshua, so
I brought it back because I have to say it.
He's there. Wow, he made it.
For somebody to put the excuse on your costume,
when you know that you came into that fight with so much weight on you, with like 18 pounds over to what you should have been, and I'm just guessing off the top of my head.
No, you're right. He actually came in weighing more too.
Eating your mom's cooking and bragging about it. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, that's okay to have after a fight, but when you're training a week before the fight, you don't want to show your mom's cooking and eat that.
Alabama food.
And then you're going to come in, look at, and then it's Black History Month, Eric.
Yeah.
Guess what? Black people want a winner. We need a winner. We need a winner. We don't need losers. We don't need beta male bitches. We don't need Deontay Wilders going around wearing a 40-pound costume and then blaming the costume because he got knocked the hell out by Tyson Fury. The fact of the matter is that Tyson Fury was the better man in this fight. I would appreciate if Deontay Wilder would just come out and be honest and say, hey, I want this fight because I was not ready and I want to do a rubber match. I want to do a rubber match to decide who's the true winner in this trilogy. But he wasn't honest. He had to come, I don't know who gave him that idea, because that idea came from somebody. Somebody told him to say this, it's completely, it's Bruce Pritchard.
He's one of his coaches.
And guess what? Guess what happened?
The one that threw the towel in.
And guess what now is going on? Now we hate him more. Now he's dropped in our eyes. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. Deontay Wilder was not the better man. He was not the same fighter. I told you guys that Tito Ortiz fight was a concern for me, and I saw some things in there.
Luis Ortiz.
I'm sorry, Luis Ortiz.
He's thinking about MMA?
I'm thinking MMA. I saw some things in that fight that I think Fury could take advantage of, and I said it when Fury got rid of that guy. I said he must have seen something that he wasn't doing, that guy wasn't providing him. So he
you know what it was too. You were actually 100% correct. His new coach that came in was the attacking style that ended up winning him the fight.
And I said he was gonna. Somebody had to change something up.
Yeah,
and he had to change it up.
And we thought it was bullshit. Yeah. And it actually ended up being the winning reason of the fight.
His formula worked.
And the funny thing that you brought it up last week, because you said you brought in a new coach, a new fresh group of faces to help him win this fight. And you're right, because in the first fight you saw him more of a defensive, more of a counter-attacking. In this fight, he actually went in
aggressive.
Went in aggressive.
Yeah.
Put pressure on Wilder, since we don't see that very often.
Right.
We don't see Wilder getting pushed into the back of the ropes or cornered. And this time, Tyson Fury put him into the corner, pushed him to the ropes, pressured him, unloaded his combinations on him, which we could all say that Wilder was not prepared.
We just seen the picture of his face like completely sideways too.
And he was licking his blood out like one where they're clinching.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. See, this is the thing.
It's like BJ.
Well, look,
this is the reason.
We're talking about Fury's masturbated 7 times a day.
This is the reason that
the power of the masturbating helped him.
This is the reason I can't get behind Tyson Fury. I respect the whole you getting out of the depths of hell and I have depression, stuff like that. But when you're saying stuff like you're masturbating and you're licking his neck during the fight, this is what I like. Now I hate both guys after.
But that's a personality thing. You need personality.
I have so much more respect for Anthony Joshua going into the fight.
And you call him a bitch.
I told him I feel bad. No, I said that because it was
and I didn't call Anthony Joshua a bitch.
I didn't call him.
I did.
I like Anthony Joshua. Okay.
And did you see I started the podcast with that unnecessarily? I had to say, I was like, oh, people don't
You should do the same thing right now.
Well, there's a lot we can do. It's going to be him saying the F word 4 times. That's what he said.
So in case of a fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury happens, Nick here is going to have to apologize to Anthony Joshua.
Apologize right now. Because I think actually here's the smart thing about Anthony Joshua is that he was in camp with Tyson Fury. Yeah. Like he gained because Tyson Fury was so focused on this fight with Deontay Wilder because essentially this was like Fury's legacy at some point. If Fury would have lost this, even with the excuse and the overall bad loss for Deontay Wilder, if Fury would have lost, it would have been it would have potentially been near the end of his career. Yeah. But now that he won, he now has put so much focus into it.
He rejuvenated.
Snake in the grass. Anthony Joshua was sitting there in his training camp going, "Oh, So now I know his trainers, and he brings back the old ones. I know those ones too. So now I know how he's going to fight me.
Guess what, Fury? You're going to have to fire that coach too.
Yeah.
And get some completely
different. You have to hire
different.
Andy Ruiz Jr.'s coach to,
But that's the thing is,
he's going to WrestleMania.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Since now
Speaking of the worst WrestleMania of all time, we're going to see Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman possibly.
Jesus Christ.
I would rather actually see Fury face
Corbin.
Yeah.
I saw that on Reddit.
Yeah,
Corbin.
I would rather see him face Corbin because Corbin has the boxing background and they could do some boxing thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like how about this
Brawl for all?
Jesus
Christ.
How about this? You do a legitimate boxing match for a minute. And that turns into pro wrestling.
It's like all over Floyd Mayweather and Big Show over here. Come on.
Oh yeah.
That was a good fight.
Everything connects.
Yeah.
Everything connects.
Outside interference.
And yet there's
everything connects.
There's like a line drawn in the sand from MMA fans, boxing fans, and pro wrestling fans are like separated, but no,
now,
we're all connected.
The thing about boxing too, why boxing guys I think work better than an MMA guy coming in. The MMA guys that transition into pro wrestling is different. But if you had Conor McGregor come in, dude, everyone would know McGregor would beat everyone's ass there. A boxer, because you can't use your feet, it's plausible that a pro wrestler could potentially beat a boxer in an actual fight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You put Brock Lesnar and Tyson Fury in there, Brock Lesnar's winning. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Like, with everything available, yeah, Tyson Fury will have a chance, don't get me wrong.
MMA? Or...
no, it would be an MMA fight.
Oh,
Fury
for sure, Brock Lesnar's got the MMA advantage.
Yeah, okay, but so we're getting a little off track here. Looking at this, so Wilder now, we're going to have this rematch, right? Yeah. And I'm still excited about this rematch. Here's what I would have had Wilder. If I'm Wilder, I would have said this. I would have been like, you beat me fair and square, you knocked my equilibrium off. I couldn't really, I was concussed. The throwing in the towel thing I didn't like, but I understand it now. And also, like, my costume was too heavy and all that. Like, and just add it into it. But and be like, Fury won fair and square. I can't wait for the rematch. There's a lot of things that went wrong. My costume was too heavy. All this stuff. And add it into everything instead of making it the main focus. It was a bitch move. I'll be honest. It was a bitch move he made. And when I saw it, I lost a little respect for it.
I lost all my respect for him.
I think it's just a way to...
I don't think you had respect for him in the beginning.
I had respect for him, but I knew that his time was coming.
I think it's just a way to cover up the Bronze Bomber name, the gimmick, the aura of it, so that's why...
The gimmick's over.
It's not over, because he can still knock anybody out, though. That's the one thing Deontay Wilder has, is he could still knock Tyson Fury out in this fight. And that's why a third fight matters. If Tyson Fury would have... Like, for example... Anthony Joshua beat the shit out of Andy Ruiz in their second fight. Okay? No one wants to see a third one.
Yeah.
No one wants to see a third one because they know that Joshua, more than like if Deontay Wilder would have knocked Tyson Fury out, I don't think we're having a third fight.
Nope.
Or people aren't going to want to see it as much. The fact that Wilder, the knockout artist, has the advantage in doing the rematch, I'll be excited in the summer to see hopefully a fresher Deontay Wilder with a different strategy, with maybe more an attacking strategy.
I want to see him more well conditioning, implementing those jabs and head movement, because he was just sticking there just to take hits and then returning them. He was just basically focusing on the counterattacks, which is it wasn't
going to win the fight. It wasn't going to win the fight.
If it didn't win him the first fight, it's not going to win him obviously the second fight.
Yeah,
and
because he lost the first fight.
Yeah. Right. So.
Yeah. Deontay Wilder sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into all the technical things of it. I just know that if you lost and you make a mistake and you're a grown man, be a grown man about it and say what you did wrong.
100%. We do need to move on again. We're going a little long on this podcast. AEW Revolution. We're taking another turnaround completely. Okay? This is AEW's only second pay-per-view since coming on TV. Potentially they're only going to have 4 or 5 of these a year, so this is a big deal. This is like a Survivor Series.
Cody's saying it could be their WrestleMania.
A SummerSlam.
I think All Out.
It's got to be double or nothing at All Out. Those are the ones that have been around for a long time. But if this is their WrestleMania, I'm disappointed, to be honest, because they only really have 2 matches at the top of this card that are legitimate WrestleMania type matches. Cody just needs to just pump the brakes, man. And not everything needs to be the best of all time. It's a great pay-per-view. We're all excited.
Man was talking about going to Monday nights.
Yeah.
At one point.
Stop. We like you, Cody.
Hey, man, get John Cena first.
No, John Cena's not going to
Not
go.
again.
Literally going back to SmackDown.
Not again.
Come on.
I mean, if Cody were to get somebody, it would be either
No, don't worry,
AJ
man.
Styles or like.
Don't worry, John Cena will come back. He's gonna induct the Bella Twins into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
I'd love to see
and
that.
And Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan.
That's gonna be so awkward. But keep saying what you're saying, man.
So AEW Revolution is going to be a great card. We have the potential somewhat blow off of MJF Cody. I think this could keep extending, but we have the first time Cody and MJF can touch each other in over a couple months now because of the stipulations that MJF said. They're having this big match that really goes back to the beginning of AEW Dynamite. I mean, MJF being his right-hand man and then screwing him over at Full Gear, we have this huge blow-off type match. Of course, Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley, which is a dream match in some ways, the way they've promoted this, and oh my, it is so awesome. That way, the weigh-in that they did last week. Oh, I wanted to rewind and watch. I had something to do like right after, so I had to go. But I was starting to drink a beer. I was so excited about that. I was like,
Did you hear the chance? Did you hear the chance?
Oh yeah, well Chris Jericho calling Patrick Mahomes a piece of shit. Him just not getting on the scale for some reason. Moxley, I think, legitimately weighing in at 231, which is awesome.
I thought you were.
And you have the whole boxing. You have girls in the background. You have a professional. It was awesome.
Jim Ross say, "What the hell is that?" He's like, "What is that?" I saw somebody say that's like when somebody orders at the Cheesecake Factory that you like.
Not just like the main events, but you
and then we have an elite tag team title match that has been. I didn't think this was going to be a storyline, but it is. We have a potential breakup of the elite happening in this tag team match. Adam, Hangman, Alcoholic Page, and Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. That's going to knock it out of the park. Pac versus debuting Orange Cassidy in the ring.
Oh, shit.
He's going to do something.
Yeah, Nyla Rose.
Interaction with Orange Cassidy at all.
Love it.
He's just going to...
He's going to try.
He's going to try, dude.
Even Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose, which I think is a better title match than Riho versus Chris Statlander, which got ruined by the Nightmare Collective, which now doesn't exist. So I think this is a way of giving Chris Statlander her rightful position. I'm forgetting the other matches. So
Jake Hager and Dustin
how can I forget about that?
Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin.
So this is a great card. This is what pay-per-views are supposed to mean. It's not supposed to be a glorified house show like Super ShowDown. This is going to be awesome. We're not going to come in here and predict what's going to happen. We just don't have enough time for that on this podcast now.
And everybody does it.
Yeah, and everybody does it. We just want to give our thoughts. So actually, everybody go down and just say what you're excited about and what you think the biggest thing about Revolution is, and what do you think is going to be the biggest thing to come out of this pay-per-view?
I'm excited about the crowd. I always love AEW crowds, but there's something special about when they go to Chicago, and there's something in general in wrestling when you have a crowd in Chicago. It's something special. The fans are always going crazy. They're always hyped, and I really enjoy that. The biggest match that I'm looking for on the card actually isn't the championship match. This Cody MJF thing has the potential to somersault MJF in a way, or somersault Cody. It's very interesting in how it was done. The build-up for it was fantastic, in my opinion. Obviously, Cody doing the moonsault off the steel cage. He's crazy. And thank you, WWE, for giving us 3 steel cage matches in 1 week, by the way.
After the best one we've seen.
So thanks, guys. But I mean,
can't match with AEW right now.
Yeah, so Cody and MJF has been fantastic, and I like that feud. I think if they continue to book MJF in the right way, he can be catapulted, because I think Moxley's going to win the championship. He can be catapulted at Double or Nothing to possibly try to take that title off Moxley at Double or Nothing. That's what I think.
Man, just like RKJ Man, I am excited for the MJF and Cody match. Although, I don't see this as an ending for the feud. I see it extending to Double or Nothing. So, because we can have, one up each other. Like, maybe MJF can win the match, and Cody can get, his revenge and actually win it at Double or Nothing. We can have that. Same thing for Jericho and Moxley, but not just I'm excited for Darby Allin and Guevara, and same for the Elite matches, but I think personally I'm more excited for Jake Hager's in-ring AEW debut up against Dustin Rhodes, because this has been building up, not just in AEW, but I remember when Jack Swagger, when he was at that ECW, show or that brand that they had back in 2010 or 2009, somewhere around there.
2010.
Yeah, they did have like a small little rivalry. So what they can use is that they can use that to kind of attach it and say that this feud has been going on for a long time. Yeah, so we can extend that and have that and be featured with Jake Hager and Dustin Rhodes, and I can also see that feud extended to Double or Nothing or maybe All Out. It can be like a huge long feud. I can see I want to see how Jake Hager wrestles in this one. I'm pretty sure.
That's a good point. Yeah,
which is pretty good. And Dustin Rhodes, for a guy like him, like his age, like 50 or 51, I think he's around that time. Yeah, he still looks good. He can still perform good matches. I'm more excited for that one, in the undercard. So that's a good match.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about this. I'm excited about all three of the big main event matches for sure. I'm including the tag team match in that. I think that's going to be awesome. Cody and MJF, you guys said enough about that.
Yeah.
How could you not be excited about that? If MJF's just such an asshole that you just want to see him get his comeuppance. And he won't. MJF will win that match more than likely. And something will happen because you have Wardlow, or you're going to have a third member of MJF's crew potentially debut. How about this? Archer? We know Lance Archer just signed with AEW. He's going to be there Monday. They say he's going to be there. Maybe he's a guy that comes in there and
also known as Lance Hoyt from TNA.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So we have, that's going to be big. Tag team match. I think there's going to be. I don't really know who's going to win that match necessarily, but I'm excited to see the blow up between the elite. Because Cody obviously is straight away from all this, dealing with his own personal stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about it. We got the World Heavyweight Championship online.
Le Champion.
Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley versus Dean Ambrose, whatever you want to call him. This would be a big match in WWE. This could be a WrestleMania match the way they booked this, a WrestleMania main event, and this is going to be dope. There's so many factors in this that are at play. You have Jon Moxley's eye. Is it fully healed? You have the overall inner circle involvement, right? You have, Chris Jericho's tricks. Is he going to pull out another finisher, like he kind of did with the elbow that he did to Hangman Page at their no, not Hangman Page, Kenny Omega. He debuted that against Kenny Omega at the Double or Nothing. There's a lot of interesting, and then overall, again, I talked about this with the MJF thing. Is there another member of the inner circle that gets involved? That surprise to screw over Moxley? Or do we just see Moxley win and be AEW's, guy? Because he stated in an interview that this is bigger than winning any of WWE's championships if he wins this one. And I don't truly know if he's going to win it, and that's why I like this. I always talk about on this podcast. You may not know this, but the biggest thing about pro wrestling I like is when there's unpredictability, and I don't know what's going to happen in this main event. I don't know who's walking in there Wednesday in Utah, who's going to be the champion, because it's set up well and it's been built for a long time, and I'm just excited to see. When we went to All Out, the thing I was most excited about was that championship match between Jericho and Hangman Page, and the crowd. The crowd was awesome, and the crowd gets into it, and they kind of get quiet, and they treat it like a real fight. When shit happens, they get excited. It's the most real you can get with pro wrestling is these type of world championship matches.
Oh my god, dude. You guys basically covered the stuff I actually wanted to say. But the one actually I'm looking forward to is Jack Swagger.
JK.
JK, but I got used to call Jack Swagger. Yeah. Versus Dustin Rhodes. And actually that's the fitting match that I just been waiting for a long time. I already brought it up. They had it in ECW, but they didn't build it up enough to the point that it could be bigger than it is now. So I'm overall excited for this.
So we started this podcast by talking about what not to do. What could AEW do here?
Not piss us off.
To not piss us off. Like, what is an outcome here that we think would be a really bad idea? I'll say one. Jake Hager losing to Dustin. Because him being a professional fighter, unless there's interference and weapons involved, I really don't think he should lose, because that ruins the mystique of having that hired gun, in a way, Jake Hager there. I think that would be a bad idea. And I also think it would be a terrible idea is if the main event ends in a no contest or a disqualification or something like that. I don't want to see that. It's okay if it happens in the MJF Cody match because I think that's going to keep going. But the Moxley Jericho thing, it needs to be a match. If AEW wants to set itself apart from WWE, I think they need to have a clean winner, whether someone cheated or not. There's no disqualification, no count out, nothing. Take the disqualifications off if you have to at this point.
Well, there's two for me. Okay. Even though I am excited for this match, he should not be winning this match. Orange Cassidy should not go over.
That's a really good one.
Okay. And we went to a show.
You should get destroyed
at All Out weekend, and I looked Orange Cassidy in the face, and I told him respectfully. I said, "Hey, I like you. I like your character. Doesn't matter." I told him in person in the face. I said, "I like your character. I like everything, but I don't know how it's going to translate to TNT." He was like, "TNT, I don't even know what that is, bro."
He doesn't know what TNT was.
But he's done well on TNT. But he is not, unfortunately, a main event player like Pac. And I think they're kind of blowing the lid on Pac a little bit too with him, and he's starting to lose a little bit, and he's kind of losing his mistake too. Should Orange Cassidy have a good fight? Absolutely. Should he get from being cool and relaxed to going serious? I absolutely agree with that. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't be enough to beat Pac. Another thing that they could do that will piss people off, I think it's time now for Jericho, as great as he's done as AEW champion and being the first champion, he needs to lose that title to Moxley. It's time for Moxley to take the ball now for AEW. He's their top star. I think I read somewhere where he hasn't lost any ratings in any of his segments. He's gained them ratings, some of their highest ratings Moxley has in their quarter hours that's featured him. He needs to take this ball and take the AEW flag. I think, especially now with Goldberg winning and Chris Jericho being around the same age with Goldberg, I think people are going to make correlations with that. And if Chris Jericho wins, then you can have Baron Corbin, who's already said it before. Oh, so you guys are cool with this guy winning it.
Do you know what's funny? I was just thinking about that too because I actually, and this didn't happen. This didn't happen before the podcast. It happened during it. I just realized that one of the things two of the matches we were most excited about, we just mentioned, was two 50-year-olds, and that's Dustin Rhodes and Chris Jericho. And yeah, you're right. They both need to lose because 50-year-olds shouldn't be beating professional MMA fighters, and 50-year-olds shouldn't be beating one of the most talented, violent professional wrestlers in the game unless there's complete BS. And that's probably set for the undercard more, not the main event. That's WWE style. But yeah, I agree with you. The 50-year-old thing, I don't want to be biased either. If they both win, we'll come on here on this podcast. You probably won't be here, but we'll come on here on the podcast next week. We'll rant for you. And we'll respectfully complain about AEW just like we did WWE. But Goldberg winning is a little bit different. I'm just going to say.
And by the way, real quickly, I just want to mention some guy came at me on Twitter about me being excited about Taker winning that to weight trophy today. I really don't care about that because it's a meaningless trophy, and at the end of the day, it was element of surprise, y'all. So once Taker faces AJ at WrestleMania, I expect AJ to have a better match, and honestly, I expect AJ to win. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. All right. Worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, like what you said. For me in particular, I just want MJF and Cody to have a great match. The only thing that could just ruin it is Randy get herself involved and then start this whole thing with the Nightmare Collective and bring it back.
Actually, that's a good point.
And that will just taint the main event, or
are you talking about Brandy?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Are you talking about Brandy turning on Cody?
Yeah, Brandy. Well, I would
Brandy Rhodes is the Stephanie McMahon of
No, we don't need that. It's a really bad idea. Don't even give AEW these ideas.
That's like the that's the thing that
I agree with. That's probably the worst one. Yeah, that's the worst one you could do.
Yeah, and I hate to go down that road, but it has to be said. Because let's face it.
I thought about
the whole thing with Brandy is bringing back Nightmare Collective. It doesn't gel well, and you can probably take a survey with other people, and they're going to tell you the same thing, unless you're defending it, which I don't understand.
Don't do that. I don't think you gave. Did you give a? Did you give a poor thing that you thought would be a bad idea?
Yeah, worst case scenario.
I mean, I don't have any ideas for it, but I mean,
you're excited.
Yeah, I'm just.
I'll say this too. I think if Cody just wins clean and this is the end of that rivalry, that'd be a little bit strange too. It'd be okay.
It's gotta go.
It'd be okay, but I think again, you need to build up the younger stars, and there's nobody more young and a star than MJF. Literally, I think in the business, I think he's the youngest guy. I think he's younger than all of us, and he's 23, 20. Yeah, exactly. So he, you know what I'm saying? I think just having him lose clean with like that'd be strange, because then MJF, where would he go? Yeah. Right. So I think that might be worse than anything happening at a world title match, because MJF is the future, and Jon Moxley isn't necessarily. Jon Moxley is the now, and he's the future, but MJF, that's all he has to hang on to right now, is that he's this future heel that will eventually win the title at All Out or next year or something like that.
What I see is, I see MJF versus Hangman. I mean, in the future. Mm-hmm. Not now.
Well, Hangman's turning heel, though. I think Hangman's turning heel 100%, even if they lose titles.
Really? You turn him heel now when the crowd is just starting to get behind him?
Well,
they might still
you turn heel.
He's like a Stone Cold Steve Austin right now.
They can all, what I heard, I mean, why not have a good old-fashioned character issues between two faces? They have issues with each other.
With multiple faces.
Multiple faces. Okay, alright, two face factions, but you know what I'm saying? You can have issues like that. But it's a situation where you have a Kenny Omega who's kind of this anti-Stone Cold Steve Austin type character, drinks beer, goes on his own, but the crowd is cheering him because he kicks people's asses. You know, like I'm saying? So why not have it? You know, I don't see it, because I'm not going to boo Hangman Page now because of how cool he's been and how great his character has been ever since he's lost that title.
I mean, it's cool to be heel. I mean, a lot of people, they love the heels because of their character, you know, and it's really mixed. With MJF, there's basically like no restrictions.
Oh, I don't like him.
That guy, like, you can boo this guy because he's a flat out asshole. There's nothing to like about this guy. Okay? There is nothing to like about this guy. All right.
I don't like him.
With Hangman Page, there's like so many layers. You know.
Well, also MJF's got that young brashness to him that even people like us would clash with him because we're of the same age as him, and he. Oh my god,
he's MJF 24
the shit
hours.
Talk he would give you would just be unreal.
I would give him back.
You know what I like to see? Him and Colby Covington.
That's true. I'm waiting for that match to happen.
Just to tweet.
Just them shit talking each other.
Just to tweet each
other
out.
I know you have.
Either they get along or they start beefing with each other.
I think they'd get along.
Yeah.
Because Covington's character's.
But I think for like tweet, like if MJF were like to tweet Covington's fight, and then like Covington would just get him back with another insult, and it's like.
I mean, but it's it's gonna be. We're excited. AEW Revolution. It's this Saturday. After, especially what I just saw with WWE, I want anything less than that. I want AEW. I want to watch the the UFC fight, the UFC title fight this weekend too, and I'm just excited about a lot. I've been disappointed, but this last weekend and this Thursday with Goldberg and Deontay Wilder and all this stuff, and I want to see some good old fashioned wrestling. AEW, do it for us. Hey. Like I said, strike one with Bray Wyatt, maybe even strike two if you talk to the other fans. And you have a great pay-per-view that just knocks it out of the park. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Continue to put it on.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of this podcast. Hopefully, we're not too long for you today, but we're pretty passionate about what we talked about today. If you just tuning in now, you want to just see the AEW stuff. We talked about Wilder and Fury earlier, and we talked about Goldberg winning the Universal title. We're all pissed off about that. You're gonna want to see that, and then. So next week we're going to have a UFC show, talking about UFC 248, likely talking about the two main event title fights, and then reviewing what happened at Revolution. Don't know what day that's going to be, but it will likely try to be before Wednesday, because we want to get it before Dynamite happens. So, RKJ Man, take it away.
Hey man, like, comment, and subscribe, but always raise a glass in the sky and salute the ring generals.
Sauce Alexander, and you're watching the Ring General Podcast. Turn this man around, subscribe, like, and comment.
But raise a glass in the sky and salute the ring generals.
That's right.